Hello everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Valpo Basketball Weekly. Along with head coach Matt Loddick, I'm Todd Eichow, and things are going really well right now for the Crusaders, Matt. And I think there's been sort of a common theme here. You've won 5 in a row, and in the last 3 especially, those great runs at the end of the first half. And we'll go into the games individually, but talk about what, in your mind, why that's happening, those great runs at the end of the first half, giving you nice, comfortable halftime leads.
Well, I could speak about the game maybe freshest on my mind. I thought, right around the 10-minute mark was when we really started guarding and really started defending. And when we do that, like most teams in college basketball, and you're able to get, some points in transition, maybe get feeling a little bit better, and, shots start falling. So it starts on the defensive end, and when we're locked in and we understand our assignments and we communicate, we can be a pretty good defensive team. We just got to continue to get better at it.
Is there something to that now that you've changed up the lineup, it's almost become a deeper team, and with the deeper team, maybe as the half wears on, you've got better rotations in there against some of their guys who maybe are reserves? Is some of that maybe?
Maybe. I think, the biggest thing's just been, the guys understand that, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're not playing. And there's that understanding, there's that accountability, and we hold these guys to a high standard and high expectation, and, we expect them to perform.
Let's go back to the first game of this past week in which you beat Bradley, and things started off well, and then Ryan Fazekas went down with an ankle injury. And I think you knew pretty much right away that, all right, Ryan's going to be out. And talk about what you guys went through, and then the decision of like you start John Kaiser in the second half, and some of the things that went on in your mind as things went on throughout that course of that game.
Well, obviously losing your leading scorer, it can be tough, and but the one thing when we're looking at Bradley and then starting a 7-1 guy, and then Childs, who's just a monster on the glass, we wanted to be able to match that physicality, and so we could have gone small, but we decided to keep John in there, who does a good job on the glass and understands our defensive concepts, and we think he just got a little bit of a rhythm and carried it over and started him again in the SIU game, and was pleased with what he gave us. I
think one thing with starting John, your rotation kind of stays the same there throughout most of the first half. If you had moved, like, let's say Dion in the starting line, now your rotation changes a little bit when you go to Dion in the first media break or so.
Yeah, I mean, and we could still do that. A lot of it just depends on matchups. But again, John's been performing really well in practice. There was a stretch there where he wasn't getting in games at all, and him and Malik, and both of them, their response was not negative. Their response was, what do I need to do to get better? They were in the gym longer. They practiced harder, and they've earned their minutes.
All right, I'm going to guess Ryan Fazekas is day-to-day. It's something you're going to evaluate each day and see how he comes along.
No, he's progressing for sure.
You look ahead now. You're in a great position, obviously, but every game seems to be a war. And again, another very difficult game coming up on Tuesday night against Loyola, a team that obviously had the great run. And after they had some shaky games in the non-conference, they look like they're playing really well right now.
Yeah. And watching film on them, they're talented. They are really good defensively. I mean, it's unbelievable to watch them, and they execute really well on offense. Sometimes that they have lulls where they're not scoring. I think that was kind of their problem maybe earlier in the year, but it seems like they found their groove in conference, and we're going to their place, and it's gonna be a tough game.
It is a sort of a home game for Javon Freeman, and what a week he had. I thought. You look back at a few weeks ago when you guys were struggling. Javon was not playing as well as he played earlier in the year. I thought he had a fantastic week this past week, both games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And freshman, there's going to be some ups and downs, and any player there's going to be some ups and downs. And Javon's been progressing nicely. It's there. I think there's that lull a little bit where you go Christmas break. You don't have as many days off maybe as you're used to in high school. You're practicing all the time. And then you get back to school, and it's just a constant grind, and freshmen just got to get used to it, and I think he's finally starting to get used to it.
I think when I watch him now, it looks like the shot has more confidence. Like there's no hesitation. He's catching the ball. I mean, that's a great sign because we know he can do all the other things. If he starts making shots, and there's a sign, looks like maybe he's got that little more confidence in that shooting. I mean, that really makes him even more special.
We've never told him not to shoot, so if he's open, we want to let it fly.
There has been a long-standing sort of Valpo tradition that the guys from Chicago play great in Chicago. It's been crazy at UIC, at Loyola over the years. The kids from Chicago have really, really played well. You're from there. You know a little bit about Chicago basketball. These games are a little bit special for these kids, right?
Yeah, I mean, but again, every game's special. You know, you only get, what, about 125, maybe a little bit more in college. And so we want our guys to take every game the same. But, you know, going home is always fun.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
For head coach Matt Loddick, I'm Todd Eichow. Thanks for joining us this week on Valpo Basketball Weekly.